Hello and welcome back to another episode of Off the Shelf!
Yay.
You're actually excited about this. Don't fake it. This was a good one.
Have I ever been excited for one of these book reviews? I am very low energy on these. I shouldn't be, but I am.
You know, some people just don't appreciate books the way I do.
I appreciate them.
So, this time we're recording for Frieren, Volume 2, Beyond Journey's End. We talked about Volume 1 on the channel a while back, and we loved it. It was really, really good. It's a nice kind of... Volume 1 started out with a nice twist on the kind of the classic adventurer's story, with you start with a member of a party where they've already accomplished the quest, and the rest of the party is now kind of in their old age, and the elf is kind of off to really discover the meaning of, like, humanity and living, because she's not necessarily living, she's just kind of existing for a long time. Yeah, so going into book 2, she started journeying with another character, obviously.
What was that character's name again?
Fern.
Fern, that's right.
It's Fern. This adorable purple-haired girl is Fern. It's super cute. So, obviously they go journeying, and she's going to the far north to fight again, because, well, the heroes party didn't really fix everything. They just kind of dealt with...
Well, she's not really going to fight so much as she's going for... Because that's where that... was it that magic user who like,
yeah, but she's also going to the Demon King's castle.
Yeah, which
yeah.
Especially we find out here, will ultimately end with her fighting.
Yeah, basically, so Eisen, the dwarf in the party, the only one left alive at the end of the last book, has kind of sent her off in this direction. And along the way, they run into Eisen's apprentice. And they run into a couple other shenanigans. I mean, they're traveling, and they know it's going to be a very long journey. And the first thing they run into is that monster that...
It, like, preys on their mental... Like, it tries to make them look like... Make itself look like people they miss, if I remember right?
Yeah. People that they miss, or people that have died in their lives that they kind of, like, feel like they didn't fulfill something on, or that kind of thing. And for Frieren, it takes the form of the hero, which was really adorable and sweet and really sad, because she thought it was going to be her master, but it wasn't. And I mean, moving on from that, we get Eisen, who's an idiot. This himbo. This absolute imbecile. This moron has just been living off of, like, a reputation.
Yeah, I can't believe Eisen was responsible for all that hollow shit, you know? I broke Seki.
It's not even spelled the same way. You hurt me deep inside.
The best part is, I haven't seen Bleach.
What is Eisen's apprentice's name? We need to know his name. Stark. His name is Stark.
Tony Stark!
Yeah, that's the same thought I had, actually.
Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps.
Yeah. So they defeat a dragon. Stark defeats a dragon. And then they head on to the north, and they come across this this village that's basically, it's been fighting with demons for, like, a really long time. And the lord of the town is trying to arrange a treaty with the demons, right? And you see from Frieren's perspective her memories of demons. And in a lot of fantasy shows, right? Like, in a lot of isekai, demons are kind of like you can reason with them. Like, they have, like, cultures and personalities. Like, they're just another form of people in this world.
Because a lot of fantasy shows, it's trying to twist on the idea of... Like, a lot of fantasy shows, more recently at least, have really tried to play around with the idea that the demons are just people as opposed to this naturally evil race.
Yeah. Which is emphatically, spoilers, not the case in Frieren.
It's like... You're used to the subversion so much that it's...
That when they
doing it straight is a subversion.
Yeah, like, we're sitting through Frieren's memories, right, of this little demon girl that's been taken in, and the demon was, like, crying in the forest, going, like, Mommy, mommy, right? And you think that, like, the demons have families, and then that guy from the village takes her in, right? And then she burns down his home and kills him to give his child to the family whose child she killed. Because they wanted a child, so she figured she'd just kill the man. Like, genuinely. And then it says that, like, well, why did you call for your mother? And the demon's just like, because I knew it would make you stop from killing me. Like, and the same thing happens at the end. Like, they're trying to organize this treaty, right? And, you know, it's not... At first, it feels like it's gonna play out, right? Like, they're gonna do that, right? And then it's just emphatically not the case. The demons are just like... He leads the demon into, like, his son's room, the Lord does, his son who died in the conflict. And he was like, I'm gonna kill you where you stand. And the demon was like, well, I lost my father in the same combat, right? And the Lord kind of reconsiders. He's like, well, we've all lost family, you know, I guess I can continue this, like, treaty with you or whatever. And when he leaves the room, the demon's just like, they always fall for that kind of shit. I don't even know what that word means. Like, what the fuck?
It's definitely an interesting plot twist, but I don't know, this might be an interesting discussion here. There's been a lot of discussion around whether or not just having, like, biologically evil races is kind of lazy storytelling. I don't necessarily think it is here, but it definitely plays into that a fair bit. So I'm curious on your thoughts about that.
I think for me, right, one of the breakdowns for that, right, is, for example, orcs in Lord of the Rings, right? Regular orcs are by nature evil, but they're also dumb as shit, right? Like, normal orcs are not smarter than a bag of rocks.
It's more like planet, or not planet, like a baboon, like having an army of baboons.
Yeah, yeah, and even Uruk-hai, like, they're smart, but they're not... Like, an Uruk-hai is not going to conceive a plan to trick people by an emotional manipulation and so on. Like, it's still kind of dumb. And even then, though, it is kind of, like, looking at that does get into the interesting discussion of, is something like the Uruk-hai or the orcs where they very clearly do have cultures, but they paint it as if, like, this race naturally has a barbaric culture. And that's... Well, part of that is I won't get into the origins of orcs in Middle-earth, because orcs in Middle-earth did not start as a race with a culture. Yeah, yeah. Orcs in Middle-earth were created out of corrupted elves by the first Dark Lord originally. Like, goblins would be more appropriate if you were looking for a race with culture that was genetically evil. But one of the things I like about Frieren, right, is that these demons are obviously an evil race, right? But they are incredibly intelligent. They know that they're, like, these demons are thinking up plans to, like, emotionally manipulate humans to further their own ends. Like, they are, to us, right, to our perception, they are inherently evil and also manipulative and conniving and incredibly intelligent, right? But at the same time, I don't know, if I was a demon, would I consider myself evil for just wanting, like, my land back? Well, that's the thing. I'm curious to see what the racial motivation here is. Because it's obvious they're playing on the idea that, no, the culture's so different that and they are smart enough to be manipulative using our own culture or using the culture of people and elves and dwarves to play on, to manipulate them. But it also insinuates that whatever culture they have is so different from humans that they don't even have concepts of words like mother and father with emotional attachment to them, which is not the case in most fantasy stories. If you want to make a race of monsters or something like demons relatable, then you give them all the same workings as a human race that you could recognize. These demons don't even recognize, like, the emotional attachments behind the words like mother and father or the ideas. Therefore, that means that if they have a culture, it's being portrayed as so different from humans that they are literally incompatible as far as both races can tell. And I'm more or less just curious, though, is why are they going after the humans, though? Like, because it's very clear that they don't have the same culture as humans, and they're willing to do very, very brutal stuff compared to what the humans are. Well, yeah, and here's the thing, right? Frieren Book 2 leaves off on a cliffhanger. Yeah. Right? Like, we're hypothesizing because we don't actually get to see what's going to happen in the end. But at the same time, we know that the demon that's leading them was once defeated by Frieren's party a long time ago and has just now risen back to power. and they're coming from the lands of the Demon King's castle. So it could be that they want their land back. Maybe humans have encroached upon the land of the demons and they want it back.
Because I'm thinking of this almost like the Great Australian Emu War, where the emus were doing what was in their preservation. They didn't care if the farmers lost money and starved. If it were a person, it would be absolutely wrong what the emus were doing, but they're not people. They're a completely separate species that are working for their own preservation here. Is that what's going on with these demons?
Yeah, like...
Or it's they fundamentally view people as a separate species. They're just smart enough to be able to manipulate the people's general culture.
Yeah, like... I mean, obviously, like, we go into stories and we're coming from the perspective of humans, right? We're looking on at demons and people like that, but, like, at the same time, the demons are looking at humans and the humans are very different from them.
I will say, I hope the author doesn't go the direction of they're just different and there is no way for us to understand them, because that's very Lovecraftian, and the only reason Lovecraftian stuff like that works is because everyone collectively acknowledges Lovecraft wrote that shit rather,
Look, Lovecraft was afraid of many, 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 many
things. And people.
And places. And weather phenomena. And ideas. He was intolerant to math of a level above basic addition and subtraction, which... Not gonna lie, I kind of empathize. He did not have a constitution for neither do I, Lovecraft. Neither do I.
But, like, you can look at Lovecraft's creations and absolutely figure that out about the guy.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think, especially with what kind of story Frieren's been so far, that with the author that's the same way. That's why I'm curious as to what the play is with these demons. Like, what like, it's obvious they are willing to be more brutal. But why are they being brutal in the first place?
I'm hoping, right, in Volume 3, right, I'm hoping that the way they play this off is that just like humans don't view demons as people, right? I'm kind of hoping that they play this off as demons not viewing humans as people. Like, they're viewing humans as, like, some form of, like, encroaching animal. And I'm hoping that, like, these lands that they're occupying in the north were, like, actual demon lands. And the demons are just like, we want them fucking back. You killed our leader. Now there's a power gap. Obviously, we're fighting amongst ourselves, but we still want our land back. And you guys are basically just animals.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Or I'm hoping they play around with that a little bit. I just don't want them to go the full Orc Uruk-hai route, where it's just a Dark Lord made them and they're evil because that feels kind of boring and played out. And I hope they don't go the Lovecraft route, because then I very much so wonder about the author's mental health.
Yeah, but so far, from what we can tell, every demon we've met has been powerful and intelligent, with personalities. So far, we're not looking at a lot of, like, mooks or something like that.
Yeah.
Although, I will say, there is some hint that the greater part of the army might be made up of predominantly mooks. So, we'll have to see in Volume 3, which is coming out next month, and you will be seeing us review it. It just might be a little while, because we have to wait for it to come out and get shipped.
Yeah, we're going to take these ones as they come.
Yeah, because this series is currently releasing in Japan, and in the English release, they're scheduled up to book 6 in July. So it's kind of releasing like one book every 4 or 5 weeks until July, and then I have not seen a scheduled release date yet for 7 in English. So it may slow down at a certain point, but for now, we're on book 2. Yeah, so I still highly recommend Frieren. This is still definitely, for me, like, big thumbs up.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting series. I'm very curious to see where this goes, because it's kind of, in some ways, it's moved away from the T.H.E realm just a little bit, or just a fair bit more than a little.
More than a little. Yeah, but with that being said, we'll see you next time we have another book of something to review. Till then, read some books, get some culture, step away from your screens, and open some paper. Yeah.